I want to welcome you all here today to CMAC, this beautiful facility in downtown Fresno. My name is Joe Moore from Valley Public Radio, and we are so pleased to welcome StoryCorps to Central California. On behalf of everyone at the radio station, we were thrilled almost a year ago when we first started talking with StoryCorps that they wanted to come here to the Valley, and it was just an honor to have the mobile tour come here to Central California for its longest stop of the year. They're going to be here for just about 6 weeks, recording 150 stories from 300 Valley residents that capture the rich history and legacy of so many people here in Central California. Before we go any further, I want to thank some folks who helped make this possible. First of all, the entire StoryCorps team who's here. You'll hear from them in a little bit, but they have done just an incredible job. And also Danielle Anderson, who's not here today in the advanced team, but they've just been a pleasure to work with and an honor to be partnered with as part of this project here in launching this in Fresno. I would also like to thank Brian Harley of CMAC for being such gracious hosts of this, and for all of their work that went into this. There were some technical challenges we had to overcome, and I'd like to thank him for that, and also the Electric Motor Shop for helping us out in making those technical hurdles eventually just fade away, and it's all working here very nicely. I would also like to take a moment and recognize our sponsors that are helping make this stop on the StoryCorps mobile tour possible, and that's the Karazi Foundation. Attorney Ty Karazi, please give them a round of applause. I know Ty wanted to be here today. I haven't seen him here right now, but he is very busy as a local attorney and doing great work there. So we thank them for their sponsorship of StoryCorps, and also Semi Real Estate and Sharina Semi, who is here today. Please give them a round of applause. And not only their sponsorship of this, but also helping us find the housing to house the 3 StoryCorps staff members who are here today. Thank you so much for your support of the station and of this project and of our community. So I just have very brief remarks. You know, StoryCorps is something that I've been familiar with for many years now, as it broadcasts its weekly national features on NPR's Morning Edition every Friday. I always like to say it's the one part of the week when the news of the day sort of goes to the side burner with NPR, and we really hear human stories, and so often they are just so moving and touching. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're sad, sometimes they're about love, sometimes they're about heartbreak or about loss or about family and belonging. And all of those themes are so important, especially, I think, at a time like today when it seems like our country is so divided. I think a project like StoryCorps is something that can really bring people together. So we are so honored to be able to work with StoryCorps. We hope that we'll hear some of these local stories eventually on the national broadcast. But beyond that, we're also really pleased and honored to announce that we are going to be launching our own series drawn from the recordings that are made here in the Valley, which we will call StoryCorps San Joaquin. After StoryCorps leaves, they're going to hand us all of these hours of tape, and we'll go through and find the best parts, and we're going to be launching a series this spring and summer that will be a broadcast series on Valley Edition, and also a standalone podcast that will feature highlights from the stories we gather here. So we can't wait to have those on our air and do all of that. And I know our team of reporters and producers are going to be doing that. I'd like to also honor and recognize all of the Valley Public Radio staff members here today. If you could please raise your hands for doing all of the hard work that makes the station happen and makes projects like this possible. And one final note, On March 19th at Bitwise South Stadium, we will be celebrating the launch of StoryCorps San Joaquin with a listening event. You'll be able to hear some of the great work that StoryCorps has done in other communities. They even have some really cool animations that they have created that go along with some of the other stories they've recorded. And if you haven't, please check out StoryCorps.org. And you can also sign up for the remaining events, remaining recording sessions that are going to be released. The second round of reservations is coming out very soon. So StoryCorps.org and sign up there. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome our partner for the venue, Brian Harley of CMAC, to tell you a little more about CMAC. So please give him a round of applause.
Good morning, everybody. So there is a long history of storytelling here at this intersection of Van Ness and Calaveras. It began in this building almost 100 years ago in 1922 with the construction of this magnificent building, which sits on the National Register of Historic Places. And it housed the Fresno Bee for over 50 years. Studios were constructed here for KMJ Radio, and later KMJ TV right across the street, which became KC24, and is now home to our friends at Valley PBS. Across the street from there, the wonderful people at Arte Americas, who tell the cultural histories and stories of the Valley. And even Valley Public Radio began here with its first broadcast in 1978. The history of storytelling in this building continued with the Fresno Metropolitan Museum, sharing local and international art, history, science with the residents of the Valley. And now the story continues further with CMAC, the Community Media Access Collaborative, and the work that we do, teaching digital media skills and providing access to digital media technology to help our community share their own stories and communicate more effectively using media, which is more important now than it really has been ever before in this age of information in which we live. And so we're so thrilled today to welcome StoryCorps to this location with all the history to help us document and preserve the oral history of our community, which is so vitally important. So we thank them for being here, and we also thank Joe Moore and Valley Public Radio and his staff for making this all happen and for all that they do for our community. Thank you. And we'll hear from our friends at StoryCorps now.
All right. Hi, everyone. Hey. My name is Ava Ahmadbegi. I'm the site manager for StoryCorps' mobile tour. And before I kind of tell you a little bit more about StoryCorps, I wanted to thank our partners because we are so happy to be here in Fresno in the San Joaquin Valley, and we really couldn't have done it without you all and our sponsors as well. So Joe, KVPR staff, thank you so much. CMAC and Brian, thank you so much. This is such a lovely place to be, and what a beautiful mural also to have a view of from our trailer over here. So for anyone who doesn't know, StoryCorps is a national nonprofit organization that was started in 2003, and what we do is we go around the country and we collect people's stories. And one of the ways we do that is with this mobile tour that we have behind me. So this trailer has a little recording studio in the back where people come and record conversations, 40 minutes long. And what we do with those conversations is that we put them in the Library of Congress with permission, and we also are able to share them with radio stations so that they can share it in more real time. StoryCorps has this mission of preserving and sharing humanity's stories. And our aim with that is to build connections between people and build compassion. So our goal really is to have people come in and have these conversations with each other that are in a way intentional and different from the conversations that they might have in their regular day-to-day lives We ask them to come in, put their phones aside, sit down face to face with each other, huge microphones in their face, and a facilitator recording all of their conversations for this archive that we have. And we hope that by doing that by really sitting across the table from each other and having a conversation that they find meaningful, we hope that they are able to kind of understand a little bit more about each other, even if they already have known each other for a number of years, and to build compassion with each other as well. So one of the things that is really difficult for folks is coming in and being seated and then having, like I said, huge microphones come down in front of their face. It's very intimidating. And it's also intimidating to know that this might be archived for the Library of Congress for future generations to listen to. It would be available online for anyone to listen to, and that it would be shared with radio stations like KVPR to broadcast on air. So what we have are facilitators to kind of demystify this process. And our two facilitators here right now are Mia and Courtney. They're standing right there. So when you come in, these very compassionate, trained folks meet you. They kind of walk you through what the process is going to look like. And during the recording session, they take notes for the archive. They make sure you're doing okay. If you get stuck, they might ask you a question, make sure everything's going all right. And they kind of are there for you to kind of talk to feel a little bit more comfortable with the whole process. So if you have already signed up for that, you will see the two of them. You will see me. If you have not, sessions, I think appointments are going to be opening up tomorrow. So you can go ahead and sign up for that at storycorps.org/participate. And like Joe said, make sure to check out the animations and all of those good things. If you don't get a chance to record with us, you can check out our app, which is the StoryCorps app. It's free online. And you can go and record your conversation directly onto your phone and upload it to the Library of Congress and our online archive from there. Yeah. What you don't get from there is the transfer that we have with KVPR, so they wouldn't have access to your recording from there. But you do get to archive it in the Library of Congress and have that shared for future generations. So with that said, thank you again so much for having us. We haven't been here since 2010, so it's about time that we be back. And we're really excited to hear the stories from here. I can tell you, KVPR staff, that you are in for a treat when you are listening to these. It's one of my favorite things to do is to listen back to them. They're really amazing. And so thank you so much for having us. If you have not been inside the trailer and are curious about it, please come and check it out. It's open for you all now. Thanks.